In this video, I'm gonna show you one method that changed the Blender game for me. And after learning it, you will be like, how didn't I know this before? It is very simple, but it is a game changer. You see here 3 stages of the Alfa Romeo Concept Q, the car that I modeled for my Blender Advanced course, and I want to quickly show you the topology here. So as you see, the body of the car is same, the only difference is the details. Like once you can do this first part confidently, the rest is about spending more time, putting more effort to the details, and basically having fun on the way. So if you can confidently model this first version, without the details even, you can pretty sure make also this final version too. And in this video, I'm gonna give you this method, which is about the blue lines here that you see. If you are not aware, it's called the bevel weight, and let me show you the details of it. The following part of this video is from directly my Blender Advanced Car Design course. It is only one of the many methods that you would learn from my course, but a really important one. That's why I wanted to share it with you here on YouTube. One last thing before jumping into the tutorial is my website. You will see the section A, fast and quality modeling methods, and the bevel weights. The tutorial you will watch now is only one part of this section. As you can see, there are many more stuff like the gradient materials, how to make a grill, the best way to do the rims and the tires, different topology methods, grid fill, and many more tips and tricks that will level up your Blender game. And then we have the section B, partial car practices. So here we're gonna model some parts of Lotus Emira, Polestar, Toyota, and some more cars from directly sketches. This will make you get confident with different type of scenarios of topology. And then the section C, where we will model and design this Alfa Romeo Concept Q from zero based on a single sketch, and we will develop it step by step until this level you see here. And of course there will be more valuable tips and tricks about how to create these shot lines, how to model the details, how to use some modifiers for the best results. And the best reflections, of course. That is not even done. On the section D, there is bonus car models. So I decided to give my other car models from other projects for free in this course. So after watching the tutorial, if you want to learn even more, if you want to level up your car design game on Blender, go check out the details on bertkaplan.com on my website, and I'm hoping to see you in the course. So let's jump into the tutorial. What is bevel weight and how do we use it? First of all, let's say we have a surface like this, and I'm gonna edit subdivision and shade smooth. Normally, if you wanna add a crease here, if you want a sharper edge here, we might add an edge loop from both sides to the theoretical line, and we have the sharp edge. And if you wanna make this sharp edge end here, there are multiple ways. One of them can be just double G here on both sides to open it up. So we have this sharp crease coming and opening to the bigger surface, so we lose the crispness this way. You can get a bit more sharper by double G on this side and also this side. Another way can be merging these vertices in the middle, so I will turn on my auto merge, this icon here, double G. So when I get close to these other vertices, it merges them together. As you see, we have this sharp edge coming and disappearing to the bigger surface. But the problem happens, let's say when you have like a big surfaces and it's a little bit complex model, and let's say you want to change your design, you want to pick some edge loops and move them up or move them outside, you want to change the angles and the feeling of this crease basically. But when I move them all together, sometimes you lose the edge loops regularity, let's say. Depending on the angle, for example, if I was pushing it inside, if I zoom in, you see that now the first edge is coming inside, then my edge loop is acting like going out and then in and out again. So basically I lost this regular angle between the theoretical line and the edge loop. So I need to manually pick them and move them a little bit outside to have this negative edge loop. So you can imagine that when you have a complex model and when you have a lot of vertices going on, it's very difficult to control these edge loops. That's why bevel weight is super useful and I love it basically. Let me show you what is bevel weight. So I'm gonna just merge them all at center and this one as well. You probably know what is bevel. If I pick this edge and Control B, I can just create a bevel, and with my mouse scroll I can decide how many of them I want. And if I do something small like that, basically I created a bevel. You can do it also by adding edge loops from both sides. It's the same thing, so I will Control Z, so it's not so different than adding edge loops. But what is different is the bevel weights. If I hit N, go to my item here, for example, I can pick this edge until this vertex, and then I can add the mean bevel weight here, edge data and mean bevel weight. So nothing happens at first, nothing changed on this surface because we need to add the modifier of the bevel. I will add it here. And one very important thing is it has to be on top of subdivision. It should be before subdivision. So first we should bevel and then subdivide. If we do the opposite, we will lose this effect that we want to get. For example, I can turn off the subdivision now. Let's go to edit mode just to see it demonstrated. And we need to change the limit method from angle to the weight. This way, the bevel will affect only to the blue lines, blue edges that you pick from here, from the edge data. So now if I just decrease the amount of the bevel, we can even do it on the object mode, and you can see that we added the bevel here basically. And the good thing is it's only a modifier, so if I just turn off and turn it on, I can get rid of the crease and bring it back easily. One important thing here, maybe it's better to show it on a cube. Let's focus on this cube here. Let's add a bevel tool, so bevel modifier, and increase it to 2. You can see on the edge, if you look at this edge here, the bevel kind of makes it softer. But what we want to have more controlled, more defined edges, we need to go to profile under the bevel modifier, and the shape, I will increase it to the 1. As you see, if we go to wireframe mode, when I increase the shape, when it's 1, it's only adding regular edge loops from both sides. But if I go it lower, by default 0.5, we'll make it softer. So basically, whenever you add the bevel modifier for the creases, we just need to increase the shape to 1, add 2 segments, and decrease the amount so we can decide how crispy do we want it. I'm going to delete this cube, and I can see it also here. Shape 0.5, shape 1. As you see, it defines it a little bit more. This is 0.5. Look at this silhouette here, and when I go to all the way 1, it makes it sharper. This is a very simple surface, so maybe it's not that visible, but as I said, to have it more defined, we need to keep the shape 1, add 2 segments, and we can play with the distance of this amount of the bevel modifier to decide the crispness. Of course, there are different possibilities for the topology. For example, on this one, we went it through the edge loop, but let me hide this one and let's go here. Here we have the same shape with the bevel, but the difference is on the top one, the edge loop comes until here and dies here. On the second one, the edge loop is continuous all the way, and I beveled only the part of it. So if you go to object mode, you can see the difference a little bit. I want you to focus on the top one. It looks a little bit more flat here on the right, and the bevel is really sharp ending there. On the bottom one, if you see the reflections, it's a little bit more continuous. It's a little bit more pinched maybe, depending on the case. So it depends on how you want to end your crease. You can do in both ways. Generally, the angons, which means a face with more than 4 vertices, are bad for topology, they say. But depends on the reflections you want, depends on your goal, it can be totally fine. I sometimes use it. And actually, let's go to see the real-life car example. So I'm going to hide all this bevel logic, and I'm going to turn on my car. So if I go to edit mode, you see that the rear shoulder, I have the bevel coming until here, and it ends on the angon. It connects to a big face, but the loop doesn't continue. And here's the result of the reflections I got. I have a similar ending here, and it's kind of experimenting. It depends on what kind of reflections you want. It would be also possible to merge these two in center, at center. Let's make a little bit of adjustments. I need to push this out a little bit. And this is also another way. Again, as I said, we need a little bit more adjustments there, something like that. This is another approach, but I quite like the previous one when they are separated as angons, because I like this idea of kind of like this Z highlight here. It looks pretty nice to me. But on the front, this character line coming from the front wheel arch is blending very nicely to this side surface, and that's the effect that I want to get from the front one, so I keep it as continuous edge loop. So as you see, both scenario works, and also on the rest of the car you can see different bevel weights around. For example, the wheel arches, rather than adding the edge loops, again with just adding the bevel weight and the bevel modifier, we can get this quite nice results quickly. And that gives us a lot of flexibility on the design process. While finalizing the design, we can apply this bevel modifier, or we can apply some of the bevels physically to get even better reflections. However, in that case, while designing, it's very useful because, as I said, maybe I want to exaggerate this shoulder in a different way. I can pick those vertices and I can just move them up, move them out, or however I want. And because of it's a bevel modifier rather than edge loops, I will not worry about if they are regular or not. It will be regularly shaping my theoretical line. Another feature with the bevel weights is if you want to add different type of bevel weight, like if you want to keep the character lines under one bevel modifier and the wheel arches on another bevel modifier, you can do it with the limit method and the vertex group. Let's say for some reason I want to add a bevel weight here, And rather than adding the bevel weight, I can go to my vertex group. I can create a new one. I can assign these vertices to this group. It's important. And then on the modifier tab, I can add another bevel, again before the subdivision. And for the limit method, I can pick the vertex group. And under the group, I pick the group that I assigned these vertices here. And now I can play with it. I can first make the profile 1, add 2 segments, and let's make it tighter bevel there. So here we see that crease added by the second bevel modifier. For some reason, if you want to keep them separately, you can use this vertex group method for your bevel modifier as well. Bevel modifier and the bevel base is a huge time saver for Blender card design process, because as you just see, it helps a lot to topology. We can keep the topology clean, and also it's very flexible to use. So I basically love it, and it's one of the main pillars for this advanced card design modeling course. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. As I said, it is a small part of my Blender Advanced Card Design course. So if you are serious about card design in Blender, I highly recommend to go check details of my full course on my website, so we can model this card together. See you in the next video.